Questions for Coach in person first with Mark Murphy.
Hey, man. I know it's especially hard when you get so many guys going in and out, but do you try something new after the last couple of games? And the second part of that is, does Joe Johnson play into your plans?
Does he what? Sorry?
Does he figure in somehow?
As far as guys coming back, that'll help off top. Yeah, we're getting Josh back tonight. We got Al and Grant back last game, so we're getting some more depth back there, and that'll affect Joe and the others who we brought in. It's possible, like I said, not saying insurance policies, but in case more positives popped up, and so we got some depth back and some rotational players, and so that should naturally help as far as that. So we talked about it coming off the West Coast trip with Jaylen coming back and certain things. It's tough to say you need to start over and try something totally new. Lineup wise, we're getting guys back and still missing, starters, Marcus, Dennis, Jaylen, or Jason right now. So you don't want to revamp everything while you don't have your whole crew there. And so just the guys back should help the continuity and the guys who've been here all year. And looking forward to more consistency regardless who plays.
Just on that front, are there any changes from yesterday, injury-wise or availability-wise, or is it the same?
Josh Richardson, the one that we didn't have, obviously in Minnesota, Milwaukee, but everybody else is the same, and the guys that are in the protocol are still in the protocol.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yep.
How's Marcus?
He's getting better. The laceration is still there and painful, and doesn't have a lot of grip or touch, so should be back soon. Tried it out a few times, doing some different things, and didn't want to risk getting worse if he, reaches for a steal or something like that. So obviously the bandage or padding or whatever he needs doesn't help to the extent that he needed to, but it's a short-term thing that should be next game or so.
Will Josh have any minutes restrictions?
No, similar to Al and Grant, they've had their conditioning sessions and should be good to go as much as we need him.
Back to basketball wise, Grant Williams leads the NBA in corner three percentage. We've talked a lot about his development shooting the three, but what does that do for the team? And then also just how has he been able to develop his shot and make it something that's so sustainable?
He understands what's needed. Simple role for him, which is defend, and that's the spot he's in a lot. And it takes ball movement to get it to that corner. So something we've done well, or especially earlier in the year. But he understands and keeps it very simple. If I have the shot, I take it. If not, I move it, and doesn't try to do too much. So doesn't put himself in bad positions. He's in that spot a lot, as I said, and I can attest to that. And throughout my career, I sat in the corner, and so I shot hundreds of corner threes, and that's the easiest three. And you should, be able to knock that down at a high clip if that's what you're asked to do.
And then just with Josh, how unique is his situation? Because he missed some time, got stuck in Arizona, came back, played one game, played really well, and then had to go down again.
Yeah, it is. But with new variants and new protocols and all that, I think it was up and down a little bit. Some other guys may have been in similar situations around the league where they're here and in and out, and then, happen to come back. It was tough because of how well he played in New York, and then losing him when we lose some other guys as well. And so we had to rely on some younger, less seasoned guys, but it is what it is. And I think he showed that he could come back and play well against New York, and we're going to need that with the guys we have missing now.
Thank you.
You watch the Timberwolves, bunch of hardship guys, young guys playing like they've got nothing to lose. They play free.
Yeah.
You guys, is it feeding into the kind of downfall of those fourth quarters where you're almost playing not to make mistakes rather than playing free?
Yeah, I mean, you look at lost leads, and you look at the Milwaukee game, and even specifically like Philadelphia against some of the better teams. I think it was really a letdown in the third quarter of the Milwaukee game. I talked about 47-point first half, and then you give up 43 in the third quarter to allow them to get back in the game. And then at times it comes down to making the missing shots at the end. So it's a mix of both. I don't think it's only been fourth quarters. We've had stretches throughout the season so far where we've had bad starts and battle our way back into it. Four third quarters have been consistent for a little bit, and then obviously ending. So it seems like a lull at some point in the game that hurts us, and we haven't put it together for a full 48 minutes. So a little bit of both. We scored well enough against Milwaukee to win it. We had 113. So, don't give up a 43-point third quarter and allow them to get it from, 17 back into the game, even though we stretched it back to 13. So you can look at a lot of different things as far as that, but ultimately it comes down to end of game situations a lot and making and missing some shots there. But like I said, I felt we scored well enough in certain games to win, not just fourth quarter collapses.
Yeah, just wondering what you saw from Peyton last game, just all those minutes and all those shots. And do you maybe try to change it up a bit? Just it seemed like you kind of ran out of gas as the game went on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with Marcus and Dennis out, didn't have a lot of backup production there. We tried Romeo at times, had it in Jaylen's hands quite a bit. But we do got capable guys. Josh has been a combo guard who, did some in Philadelphia and is capable of taking some of those minutes off. So that'll help as far as keeping Peyton's down a little bit. We got Broderick Thomas, who's a young combo guard that we can lean on there. And then ultimately we can let Al handle and bring it up and initiate some stuff as well. So you don't have to play him as many minutes. And, that was a result of certain guys being out. Obviously, our two other point guards, but and him scoring the ball well that game. So don't love the 44-minute deal. Peyton is one guy that we feel could shoulder that, and he prepares for that out of anybody. And so it went that way, but that's obviously a higher number than we'd like.
Ime, the league, you're taught that there's always a game the next day and shake this one off. And that's good, and I guess probably negative in a sense where guys learn to take losses maybe a little too lightly.
Yeah.
How do you get your guys to take the other night against Minnesota personal and to be more like this ain't gonna happen again, as opposed to, well, we just got another one 2 days. We gotta how tough is that mentality?
It's somewhat true what you're saying, but that pride and when you play that well against Milwaukee and some of the other teams just the game before, you hate to see the inconsistencies there. What I said the other night was hasn't been a lot of consistency or carryover from game to game. We can play great against one of the best teams, the big teams, get a good win or a tough loss, and then it doesn't really carry over into the next game, or vice versa. We don't play well, and then we look like the best team in the league next night. And so that's more concerning than, saying it's another game, or, well, we have another opportunity, although that's somewhat true. But that's the more concerning part, is that it doesn't carry over. And it's not just game to game, it's been quarter to quarter. So that consistency lacking, or half to half is showed throughout the year. And so that's what we have to figure out, how we get that sustainable effort, sustainable execution that gets us leads, and how we look really good and continue that not only to the next game, but sometimes within the same game.
You have 48 hours between games. You have no practice, no shoot around. Is it up to the players to kind of motivate themselves to, after you kind of laid them out after the Minnesota game, you pulled no punches? I mean, is it up to them, or do you call them individually, or do you talk to them as a team? How do you approach that?
It's all of the above. What we've really started to do more is have a lot of individual one-on-one sessions with guys in this downtime. You can have a walkthrough and kind of a masked walkthrough, and it's not a full shoot around, or obviously not a practice, but they're getting the reps up individually. And then the film is what we really have to rely on. And we showed what we did really well against Milwaukee before Minnesota. Didn't have a lot of carryover, like I said. And then obviously the loss to Minnesota, a poor one, especially in that second half. We show what we did well and did poorly against the zone tonight, against a team that'll run a lot of zone like they did in LA. So we're practicing things and looking at things, and digging into their personnel as well. But it's really a lot of individual one-on-one sessions, walkthrough sessions, working on personnel with these teams that are playing a lot of different guys. So we're looking at different methods of ways to teaching points. And I sat down with Jaylen 45 minutes before the Minnesota game, sat down with Peyton as well. And so we're doing a lot of one-on-one sessions. And what do you see here? This is what I see, and talking out as far as that, since we're not getting the court time that we need.
And one more, is Jason being affected by the shortness, the new abbreviated window for the COVID? Could he be back sooner than you guys thought?
You said Jason?
Jason.
Yeah, you would assume so. It's not only league wide, it's the CDC has put out the same. And so that should benefit certain guys. As long as you have the negatives, you can come back sooner. So you would assume so.
I do have one more. Jaylen was pretty down after the last game. You mentioned a session before that. I mean, he clearly put a lot on his shoulders for that one. how has he been the last couple of days and what kind of conversations are you having with him?
Just more of the same. It's it's not a short-term fix. These are things that aren't going to change overnight and haven't always been consistent. So it's not just a one film session and then you're on to the next. Well, he took that tough, obviously, with Jason being out and being the main guy out there. I'm sure put some on his shoulders, but it's never just one guy. It's obviously a full team effort, coaching staff included, and we win as a team, lose as a team. So that's the mindset and mentality with everybody. It's not just you're not just looking at Jason being out. You're looking at Marcus being out, Dennis being out, and certain other guys, obviously rotational players. So what he mentioned about continuity and some chemistry between guys is a real thing, but the whole league is dealing with it, and you have to gin up that energy and effort every night. And those are teams that are going to be successful through these hard times.
Wrap it up right there. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.